Hey, welcome to Friday Night Live, yo.
Hey everybody, welcome. And we are on the road today.
Yes, if you notice that our studio looks a little different, it's because we're going on the road this week.
That's right. It's more than a notion. All right. So tonight we are going to talk with our special guest, Reverend Dr. Marisha Stewart.
And we're going to talk about finding true love. Man, this is a
The
good one.
second time around.
That's right.
The second time around. All right.
Right after this. Like I said, we're talking about finding true love, and we're going to have the guest on from this week's podcast, Dr. Marisha Stewart. Let's get her in here.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you this evening?
I'm glad it's Friday.
Can I get an amen?
All right.
Peace to the man.
Well, welcome back again. It's been a minute since we've spoken. So you were episode number 88.
Yes.
And the episode name was what, Jason?
Finding true love.
Finding True Love. So we talked about what? What did we talk about in that episode? On you, Marisha.
Well, maybe before that, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
She like, I don't know.
For the folks that's signing in and everything, just tell them a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and where they can, all that kind of stuff.
All right, so I'm Reverend Dr. Marisha Stewart. I am a full-time high school counselor. That's what I do full-time, part-time adjunct professor, and experienced some valleys in my life. And the deepest valley, I would say, is the divorce, which led me on a journey to my purpose. And now I'm a divorce coach. I have my own podcast, Lioness Queen, where I encourage women to release the past and recognize the worth of their crown. And I just really try to help women move past the residue that they've dealt with to live a residue-free life.
All right.
I love that, residue free.
And so did you find that releasing all of that residue helped you to move into your next relationship?
I truly did. But again, I think it's an onion. It's layers to, because it's easy for us to carry. We talked about 10 bags earlier. You guys had to carry. It's easy to carry bags into every new relationship you go into when you don't release it, when you don't clean it, when you don't look within. So that's the one thing that I try to help women do is trying to become residue free. But there are layers to that sometimes depending on the trauma and what you've gone through. Yeah.
So how did you come to that conclusion that you needed to release? Otherwise, you would have been taking that baggage to the next relationship. Mm-hmm. So on your journey, you went on this journey. What helped you to realize that you really needed to cleanse and release all of that?
Because I was bitter. I was bitter, not better. And so bitterness, unfortunately, it's like holding on to something and you just don't want to let go. And when you don't want to let go, you don't want to heal, you don't want to do the work. I typically say it is... there was a nursery rhyme that I love to sing. And the nursery rhyme was always about what my ex did to me.
Of course it was. Yes. Okay.
It's always about him, huh?
That is the nursery rhyme that many of us, we like to sing over and over. But in the same regard, it's like, there have been people you've hurt before. I'm pretty sure there have been nursery rhymes that other people have been singing about you. So why are you holding on to a mistake or whatever the case it may be? You're holding danglers over this person's head when you can just let it go and release it and move on into something greater.
All right, so let's get into the first point. What was the first point? So we talked about a lot of this in depth on Wednesday's episode number 88.
Yep.
And so what's the first point we're going to touch on tonight?
We're going to talk about marriage can work.
So,
You
all
talked
right.
about having garbage and all this other baggage and stuff. Marriage can work, but we have to put some work into it. But we also need to take a look at ourselves to make it work and find out what did I do within the relationship to cause some of these issues.
So tell us how your relationship worked the second time around.
So it's, it's interesting. I truly believe sometimes it's also connected to how we were raised, what we saw, what we grew up with. Most people don't read books to figure out, oh, how can I be a better husband? How can I be a better wife?
Yep.
I love her better. How can I respect him better? We don't read and trying to figure out how to be better. And so typically we grow with what we know. And so
Absolutely.
I think the difference in my new marriage is the fact that my husband grew up with a dad. He was never married, but grew up with a dad and saw what a husband looked like and saw what a father looked like. Not perfect,
Right.
saw things and picked things that kind of developed him into the husband that he desired to be. So I think it starts with the level of knowing what you've been raised around and what you're willing to do to make it better.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
And you know what? And that's the key thing. Having a role model, you have to be able to mimic somebody or just have a person to kind of guide you along. Look, this is how you treat a lady. This is how you deal with this situation. A man is supposed to do this, or this is what you should do.
Or just the knowledge, like she said, of understanding what it takes to
Right,
be
because you don't
a
know.
father and to be a husband
Yes.
in that role. Because if we don't have those role models, we have no idea. As you said, we look at or we learn from what we know.
Right.
And most of the time it's not much of anything, but we don't take the time to pick up a book or to ask someone who is succeeding in that area, how are you making your marriage work?
No, because it's subconsciously, it's easy to fall in the steps of and become our parents. Let me say.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Right, because that's what we know. That's what we're comfortable
That's what
with.
we
This
see.
is the movie that we saw playing.
All right. And I know on Wednesday's episode, you talked about your journey from your first husband and how just getting married because you thought it was the right thing to do, and realizing sometimes that we shouldn't just get married because if we pick the right person the first time, then it only has to be a first time. What are your thoughts on picking the right person as opposed to I'm just going to get married because that's what I believe I should do?
Well, let me say that's what I believe. That was on my husband's side. I truly believe I picked the right person.
Okay.
Okay.
That is what I truly believe. And so I believe there was a purpose that we were together, and it was just so that my son could be born. That was the reason. Um, he chose doing getting married as the right thing to do because we had dated for 9 years,
Okay.
and so everybody was like, "When y'all getting married? When y'all?"
Of course, you doing
Right.
all this dating, you got to be getting married.
It's everywhere. Pressure, even pressure from me.
Right.
Made a great couple. He is a cool guy. He's a nice guy. We made a cute couple, a good couple. We rarely argued. We got along. We were compatible on multiple levels at that time of my, our 20s and 30s. But in the same regard, he just did it because it was the right thing. It was the honorable thing to do, not necessarily what he wanted to do. And that is the piece. The piece is a lot of people, almost like shotgun weddings. A lot of times people do it because it's the right thing to do, not necessarily I truly love this person. Like this is my ride or die.
And I want to spend the rest of my life with them.
Right.
We don't sometimes we just choose because we want to be morally right when inside it's wrong. It's
All right.
I know a lot of people have done that, whether, the lady gets pregnant or whatever. You say, you know what, I'm going to do the right thing. Want to be here. Or like you said, you've been dating for a while. You're like a beautiful couple, and people go, oh, when you guys going to get married? When you going to get married? Okay, well, I guess we'll just go ahead and get married because we've been dating for so long.
Yeah.
And you do that. And then,
And again, we talk about it more in depth on episode number 88 on
Yep.
Wednesday's episode. So what is our point 2?
we're talking about seeking help and not being embarrassed about maybe seeking help from a therapist. I mean, we all know that we can't handle all these situations ourselves, and we need to seek help. But a lot of times we just don't want to talk
What
about
is the stigma around it?
Yeah.
Right? Especially in the Black community. What is the stigma about reaching out and seeking help from those who are professionally designed to do it?
We don't want to lay on no couch.
You said that again. Nope.
We don't want to be monks. Like, we don't want to lay on a couch. We don't want to do the work within ourselves in order to be better.
Or do you think we don't know that we can't solve the problem at the same level that we created the problem?
No, I think it's the man in the mirror. Typically, you just don't want to know that your stuff stinks. Right?
So that's what
Always the other person. That's it's always the other person. So my husband and I read this book called Love and Respect. And the book emphasizes how he is supposed to love me when I'm unlovable.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Supposed to respect him when he don't even deserve the word respect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you move forward from that? You got to look within. And so going to and seeking out therapy,
Mm-hmm.
it exposes you. It exposes that. And so oftentimes we just don't want to acknowledge our flaws and I acknowledge, because it requires work. It requires change. It requires you to do something that goes against, I like to say, the flabby mindset. That mindset is so flabby like a stomach. It's stubborn. It doesn't want to move. It doesn't want to grow. It doesn't want to evolve. It doesn't want to learn. It wants to stay in the same place. And so in a marriage, you got to grow together in order to stay together.
You said something there.
Yeah, you have to grow, right? You have to grow and learn. You have to grow in the right things about like you said, the love and respect and what it entitles and what it takes and the change that has to happen within ourselves, not looking for that change for someone else to make the relationship better. It has to start with us.
Right. But I think one of the problems is, like you said, lack of education. I mean, like we get educated in everything we want to do. If we want to make more money on the job, if we want a better education, you got to go back to school, better job, whatever it is. If you want to learn how to do something, you go pick up a book and read it and learn how.
Be on TikTok. I want to learn how to be on TikTok.
Right.
So don't want to pour into the relationship. That's just something that people just don't do.
So we talked about the therapist. So you and your husband, you did seek help, correct?
We did.
Okay. And what do you think about that?
Hey, and I have to say the one thing that she started out with was the two of you are creating a garden. And you determine what grows in that garden, what dies in that garden, how you have to tend to the garden, how you have to care for the garden. And that's what it's all about. That is what it's all about. And sometimes you may need help. Because look, I have a lot of plants in my house. My husband doesn't like my plants. But again, I have to tend to them. And sometimes my plants struggle. I need to go to the nursery and figure out what's wrong with my plant.
Yep.
The same thing about a relationship. And it's okay if you need help because you're not going to know everything. And seeking someone else who is unbiased, who don't know you from Adam,
right,
and have a new set of lenses to see what the real issues are to help you move forward if you want to move forward.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing is, if you want to move forward, I mean, it takes a lot of courage to go to, therapy or seek help because we don't have all the answers. If we did, we could fix this mess that we were in.
But the point is that it's okay. We have
okay.
to stop thinking that it's something wrong with therapy. Right. All right. What's point number 3? And again, we talk about that more
because you had to change your mindset in order to attract your new husband. because you can't be the same old person expecting to get someone different. If you want something
Absolutely.
different, you have to become a different person.
So how did you have to change your perspective?
So that piece is interesting to me because I have to say that I was so gung ho in the with my first one. So much so, and I think a lot of women do this, we forget who we are as an individual.
Oh,
And I
okay.
think
Absolutely.
we do that. We come, and so it's us. We put everything off. Okay, I'm gonna take care of the kids. I'm not gonna go to school right now.
Right,
I'm
right.
gonna work. I'm gonna put my career on hold when we're still an individual and we still have these personal goals. We have personal things that we still want to do, but we put them off because we want to be the helpmate. When to me, you gotta realize you're an individual as well. And so in this relationship, that is what I had to work on. Realize I am a rib, I am your other rib, but in the same regard, I am an individual and I have dreams, I have goals, I have personal things that I want to do for me. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? And I think that is one thing that we get away from. We're so connected in a way, but then we forget about
Who
ourselves.
we are. We lose ourselves.
We do.
So when you went into your second relationship, did you go into that relationship with the identity of this is who I am and I need to continue to be that individual as well as mending with my husband? So what was your perspective and different? How was it different as opposed to the first relationship and then your second, well, your first marriage and then your second marriage?
Well, so I think what's interesting is time. Uh, we change over time. And so
Absolutely.
in my 20s, in my 30s, I was a different person. I was all into the boo. This is my boo. This is my boo. You know. however, when we split the first time, it pushed me. Oh no, no, no. Because I literally said, I won't ever forget it. I won't say the bad word I said, but I said, if he ever does this to me again, I will be okay. I called him a name, but I
Mm-hmm.
said, if he ever does this to me again, I will be okay. And not realizing, like 14 years later, he did.
Mm.
Um, but going in when I'm in that time frame, you're young. You kind of haven't come into really who you are, what you want to do. You're trying to figure yourself out. So this time around, I know who I am.
Come on now.
Wait, the talk is even different. The first time you're young, the second time, oh, I know who I am.
Yeah, I'm very clear. I know what I need. I know what water I need. You don't have
Wonderful.
to water me. I know how to water myself. I know what type of water I need from me. And so that's the difference. It is all about my identity and knowing who I am. And sometimes that just depends on maturity. It could depend on your age level. It could depend on experiences. But for me at my age, I'm almost 50. I'm very close to 50. Like really, I know who I am. And so the interesting piece about my husband is he pulled out and exposed more of my identity
Hmm.
where people feel like, man, you are so different.
But he wanted you to
He,
expose more of yourself.
he believed in me and what I could do. And I'm just like, I feel like I'm a different person, but it's okay. And so it's so funny because the other day he said, next time you ever talk to your ex, tell him thank you.
Now, that's a real man right there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I know Jason and I, we talk about in order to get in marriages, I think for marriages to work, we have to know what we need.
Yep.
We have to know. We can't go on shallow or vague ideas because that's what it doesn't work, because then when we don't get what we need, we're wondering why. And so like you said, at this point in this age, either experience or maturity, you're like, okay, this is what I need. I don't need what my neighbor has. I don't
That's
need what
right.
my best friend has. This is what I need to make me feel loved and for this relationship to work, which is a big step.
That's coming into your own. That's knowing what you
Absolutely.
want and who you are.
My taste buds are different.
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
I'm eating stuff now that I didn't eat when I was younger. I didn't want that stuff.
Correct. You make adjustments, even health wise, right? Like
Yeah,
even health, it's all about growth. And
Absolutely.
growth, you want to be able to grow with this person. You know what I mean? And I think that sometimes you see that a lot in marriages that don't work. One person grows and one person doesn't.
right.
Or they're growing in two
Two
separate
separate directions.
directions.
Yeah.
Two separate directions. So growth sometimes has pressure to cause friction in a way as well.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Friction isn't
Absolutely.
bad. I mean, like if you guys willing to work on it, friction
Well,
is good. It just means you're growing.
No,
That's
we
all.
know a lot of marriages that had that
understand.
friction where one changed and it
I
just
do
didn't work out.
understand that, right? Because the one person wasn't sure of themselves. They wasn't secure in themselves. So when the other person starts to develop and become more self-assuring in themselves,
they are,
then
right.
they can't deal with that. No, I like the old you. I like the old you that did not speak up and just kind of went along with the way things were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or accepted whatever was given to you.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know about this new you.
All right. So
but it exposes that's the thing. Time, it can expose who you are. You know what I mean? It can expose who you are. And so I think all of these different instances or things that may come up in your relationship or your marriage, it exposes more of the real you. Who is the real you, boo? And
right.
so then you can come to a place where, like, you can come to a Jesus moment where you're like, okay, do we work this out? Or is it time? And that's the piece. The piece is, me and my husband talked about, he asked me, why did you stay so long?
So just tell the people how long you stayed in your first marriage.
Well, we were together a span of 24 years.
Okay. Okay.
I was with him since 18. So that's a long time.
Yeah.
But in the same regard, it wasn't all bad. Like, God was like, was it all bad? I said, it wasn't all bad because we were great roommates. But guess what? I didn't feel like I was loved. There were certain things that, again, that water that you need, I wasn't being watered.
But I also like you said, going back to what you said before, being who you are. We come into marriage as women already as imposters, not really knowing who we are and trying to define ourselves by what society says a wife and a mother should be, instead of being true to our own identity and standing and not losing ourselves. We lose ourselves so much, first in marriage and then as parents. And then we wake up one morning and go, what happened to the real me? Who am I?
I'm gonna tell you. So I love to have fun. I love to be silly. I used to be a professional clown when I was younger.
You did cover that on the podcast. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
And I love doing it. And so I could not be that silly person in my first marriage. And when it got when it got too silly, it was either he would look at me funny, or he was like, can you just calm it down? Like, I had to dumb it down, where my new husband, he loves me being silly.
Wonderful.
I didn't know at first. I thought he was really boring because he was my son's music teacher. And I didn't know. But he is.
She said she thought he was boring.
Music teacher being boring.
Well, they can be, right? I don't know.
Well, no. He's played for Go-Go's. He's played.
No, I'm just saying some of them. Right.
He's played for some major people. But when you meet people, you just you don't know people until
you don't know. You just pass judgment. You don't even know.
I passed judgment, and I didn't even know he was silly. I just didn't even know he grew up in the hood, like at certain things, because he's very polished now. So Chucky, I never met Chucky before. I only know Charles.
But then when you got to know him, you realize Chucky's alive. Chucky and Shampoo got along real good. And it was okay.
Calm it down.
And it was okay to be silly, right?
Yes, because his intention is to always keep me laughing.
All right.
Oh, well, that's good. We got a couple of comments coming in. What's that, Martika?
I can't read it.
Yeah. We're gonna go with Williams. Yeah,
we close to that.
That's true. And as you making a comment, I think it was.
And we're on the road with the small monitor, with no glasses. So excuse us if we can't read your name or mess it
But
up.
thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
What did she say?
Right. She says, yes, that's true. And I
Okay.
think that was when she was talking about
Losing yourself watering or
Yep.
okay.
And then also, Vicky chimed in. Vicky, how are you, dear? Thank you for chiming in. She said, "LOL." So she's just having a good time. Hey, we're just talking about real stuff. This is real life. This is marriage here. Thank you for checking in.
So as we're talking about Vicky, I just want to let the audience know, I want to give a shout out to our host family today. So we are on the road. We are in Michigan.
Yep.
And we are with our Uncle Nelson and our cousin Lorraine, who has so graciously let us turn her living room into a podcast studio.
Yep. And we greatly appreciate that. Right.
So, and if you hear some clacking in the back, that's her, even though we told her, okay, shh. So we're alive and we're taking it for whatever it's worth. So, all right. So
that was your classmate, babe.
oh, okay. So I can't read. Okay.
Is your classmate from Jones.
All right. So thank you for tuning in. And we know that we do lose ourselves. We lose ourselves or we need to be watered in the right way. So we definitely agree. So, and again, we go into depth on Wednesday's episode, number 88, Finding True Love, right?
Yep. Finding True Love, babe.
And she talks about the 24 years, and she talks about the first marriage and going into the second marriage and knowing that it's right and understanding that now she's getting watered by what she needs instead of trying to water somebody else thinking what they need.
But let's go back to the whole plant analogy. I like that because we have problems with plants.
What's
right?
what's the last, did we get on the last point?
Yeah, we got it.
The
Yep.
last point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So, but the whole plant thing, right? So you said that when you have problems with your plants, because we have this issue with the plants.
who is
We're talking
we?
about plants. You have really the issues with the plants. I
He's
don't
talking
really
about real plants.
We
He's talking about real plants.
Right.
I was
And we
on
needed to.
Facebook the other day asking for help. My
Yeah.
peace lilies are saying, Lord, please give me
Lord.
some peace.
Yeah. I look at them. I said, Lord, help these babies.
And they say that's the easiest thing to do.
Did you repot?
We're
We're not even going to talk about it.
We
We're
done
not
it all.
even
But
gonna
so
talk
what
about
we
it.
needed to do is we really need to educate ourselves on this whole nursery type stuff, right? So we went to the nursery and we found out that, we had made some mistakes and some repotting before.
Yeah, because
So
I
we
put it
did
right
work.
in front of,
Oh, yeah,
the
we-
window.
yeah,
And
we
she
was
said,
burning- yeah, we was
you put
cooking
it
this
in.
thing.
She said, your plant is in ICU. You just went ahead. And then I was giving it water because it looked like
Yeah,
it needed
too
water.
much.
And
But
I don't
again,
know.
that's it.
When you don't know, you don't know, right?
You don't know. And what you said was, you need to go read up on it. You need to study up on it. This is how you make your relationship better. This is how you make your plants grow. Like
So-
you said, you need to be watered. You need to be watered in a certain way. Well, now you know that because you studied, you made a better you. And
Or
when
you-
you did that, now you go, this is how I need to accept. This is the type of water I need.
And those 24 years gave you the experience to know what worked and what didn't work. And that's what we're all about in relationships. Not carrying the same baggage or doing the same thing from relationship to relationship without changing ourselves, but realizing what is going on here and what in myself do I need to recognize. Like you said, we just don't want to do the work. We rather put the blame instead of putting the work in.
Yeah, so you can't have. I bring my trash. He bring his trash. It's your job. And that is unfortunately a lot of relationships.
It is, absolutely.
So what made you get into ministry? Is it after your first marriage or during your first marriage?
It was after my first marriage. I've had the call for a long time, but I was running for my life for a long, long time. I'm good. My mother's a pastor. Like I'm good. And being in that valley, it just really, it helped me to realize, along with me dealing with suicidal ideation. We were talking about therapy. I believe in prayer and therapy. That's what I believe in. I believe in mental health, physical health, and spiritual health. I believe
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and it just pushed me. And God was like, "You've been running for a long time," and it really, I just didn't realize. Once I accepted the call, it was just sweet. It's just sweet aroma. That's what I can say. It's just sweet aroma, and I've loved helping women and ministering to women and helping them grow.
Wonderful. So I know our Friday Night Live is not long. So tell everyone where they can reach you, where they can find out more about you and they can reach you.
So on my website, which is below, let me read banner. So I am the lionessqueen.com. Also, you can find me on Facebook, Lioness Queen, Instagram, Lioness Queen, Twitter, Lioness Queen. I'm Lioness Queen everywhere.
All right.
Don't you give a like a Facebook or a YouTube live at the end of the month, right? For
I do.
women?
So I have a women's empowerment session in the I Am series, and I named it I Am because I want women to realize I am this. I literally remember in my lowest moments, I put a an index card in my bathroom, and all I wrote was I am.
Mm.
Still have a picture of it, and God wanted me to put words behind it and
Yep.
declare who you are.
The positive words.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's why
Affirming
why
what we
I
are.
always say you have to be careful with what you associate with I am. I am is so powerful. Don't say, anything negative out after I am.
All right. So, what is your empowerment? It's empowering women to become more of their true identity, and tell us when it is and where they can. I know it's I am the lionessqueen.com. So tell them where they can find you and when it comes on.
So it is the last Friday of the month at 7 o'clock on Facebook Live. And we go through different topics. So whether it is on identity, whether it's on trust, whether it's on purging, we go through different topics of things that we as women go through. We've also done Black history. Yeah, so we just talk about whatever, we have like a hot topic session. So whatever's going on in the world, we talk about. Me and my BFF for 35 years. And it's so interesting that she's experienced divorce twice.
Oh,
And so us healing together, it really has helped us grow. And I truly believe, like even with my podcast, me speaking out, helping women also helps me in return. And so you can find us again, Facebook Live, last Friday of the month at 7 p.m. Lioness Queen Facebook.
Do you
and
have her?
you never did say anything about the podcast. You just like brushed over it. So, what's the name of the podcast? I'm sure it's probably the Lioness Queen.
Lioness Queen. You want to bring it back up on the screen?
Yes, I do. So you can get the podcast there. They can link right to your Facebook from there as well.
Podcast.
Do you
My
have her page up?
I don't because I got to stop the
so it's
screen.
my podcast. It is the I Am series. And I got something, and also I have an Etsy page, so I sell mugs and journals as well. But
And you're on Amazon Live too, aren't you?
well, that's my podcast is on Audible.
Oh no, I'm
Okay.
saying, but don't you do an all?
Yeah, that's something new
Come,
too.
come on, give me all of it. I want to know all of it.
Come on, Lioness Queen.
Yeah, you got so much going on. I got to remind you.
Oh, I'm an Amazon influencer, which I'm so excited about.
Yeah, that's big time.
Yeah, so I share different products, to try to get people interested in things on Amazon. And then also I have coming up, I'm gonna be starting my own online radio station.
Wonderful, wonderful.
All right.
All right. So we
You
look
getting the
forward.
message out there, aren't you? I love that.
Yes, we look forward to all of your endeavors being successful. We thank you for coming on. And I think that's going to wrap up another Friday Night Live. We thank you for all the viewers and your comments. Thank you, Marquita. Thank you, Vicky. Was there anyone else? I know I saw some other comments. For everyone out there, you can watch our Wednesday episode. Tell everybody where they can find us, Jason.
Where they can find us, baby. All right, so the podcast comes out every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcast delivered. It's Loving Beyond the I Do podcast. You definitely want to check it out. Dr. Marisha's episode is number 88, Finding True Love. I'm telling you, these episodes have been solid. And you've been checking us out on the Friday night thing, as we recap, but you got to really check out the actual podcast. Also, while you're going around the internet, why don't you pop over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel, right? This is where you're going to find a lot out about us.
LegendaryRelationship.com.
Yeah, well, you just search that on YouTube, and then we'll come right on up there.
And again, the podcast, people are, what is the name? So we often say I do when we get married, right? Do you take this man, this woman, and you say I do? So our podcast is Loving Beyond the I Do. So we are out here teaching and showing and talking to couples that are succeeding in marriage about how to love beyond the I do. So that's Loving Beyond the I Do podcast. And check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to legendaryrelationship.com. And on Facebook and Instagram.
We're at Legendary Relationship, baby.
All right, Legendary Relationship.
Marquita got a good little comment here. I'm going to bring that up on the screen.
All right.
It says, I love that I had
Can you
some
read that?
issues. I'm trying to. There's some issues in my first marriage at 19.
Bring it up, put big.
I
Bring
can
it
be
up
the
big.
reader. I can be the reader. So she said, I love that. I had same issues with my first marriage of 19 years, my second marriage of 5 years. I get to be me in this go round.
Oh,
Wonderful.
that's what I'm talking about.
And
Yes.
that's yes. All right. And that's what we're talking about. When we lose ourselves and we realize that it's time, I think a lot of women do that. We lose ourselves and then we go, what happened to that person that I used to be? Right? And so that's why we're putting this on the road and putting this out there, because it needs to be talked about. We need to let women know it's okay to show up the first time around who you are.
Yep.
Know what you like, know what you need, and be that person in your relationship so that your relationship has a standing leg to succeed, so that you can grow together in that direction, but you're growing who you really are, not growing for what you want.
What society wants you to be.
Absolutely.
You be who you need to
Absolutely,
be.
absolutely.
You stand up and you stand strong.
All right, I think that's it. And tell us one more time where they can meet you, where they can reach you. Again, one more time, Jason. You're looking for that.
Yeah, it's coming up, baby. It's coming up. There
All
we
right.
go.
All right. Go ahead, Marisha, and tell us.
Shampoo can come out. I'm sorry.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a wonderful guest on the podcast. We truly appreciate it. We had a good time. We learned a lot. It's wonderful. One thing about this podcast is we're meeting a lot of good people, and also what worked in their marriages, how they overcame it. I mean, you are a divorce coach as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're helping people with that.
All
So
right.
it's just encouraging to know that, hey, it's help out here, right? It's
We
help
just have
out
to
here. We
seek
just
it.
have
You're
to
not
seek
the
it.
only one.
Absolutely.
It's so, because that's a big trick, where you feel like I'm the only one going through it, and no, you're not. And there's help.
Even at whatever stage you're at right now, right? I tell you, we don't have to suffer. We don't have to settle. What we need to do is realize what's going wrong and how we can change it and how we can fix it. And that calls for education, doing something different. We can't keep doing the same thing, thinking it's going to change for a different outcome.
And we can't have the same type of relationships as our parents had. We got to have our own relationship. We got to build our own stuff.
All right, and I think we closed this out 3 times, but this is the last time. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in, Janine. We appreciate
All right,
you.
Janine, how are you? So we talk to you guys later. And remember, marriages are built. All right.
All right. Thanks to everybody for
Peace
coming
out. Wait. I know. Okay, guys, y'all gonna kill me. I just wanted to give a shout out. I know, I couldn't believe it. I want to give a shout out to my girlfriend who's a sister. Today is her birthday. Happy birthday, Pat Laws. Happy birthday. I love you. And I've been knowing her for almost 30 years, and who knows where relationship goes. Yes. So I just want to send a shout out. Now we can close it. Thank you, Dr. Marisha.
We appreciate you.
Reverend Dr. Marisha.
All right.